Good morning. Today is day 9 of the index card challenge. I have scraps out in front of me already. I want to tackle the miscellaneous envelope. A lot of the miscellaneous envelope contains the paper where I put down washi tape and then cut out shapes, the paper that's left, and I just like the washi tape on it. So what I think I'm going to do is get a piece of deli paper. I'm going to peel off the washi tape from these and put it on the deli paper so it stays on there better and I don't have all this thickness. This pile is just lightweight papers that would be easy to use. This one is the same, they're just smaller pieces. This pile is the thick pile. It's the pile that's made on mixed media paper or watercolor paper. So what I want to do with these, I'm going to go through and I'm going to try to peel off the top layer, and then what I'll have left is a thinner piece that I can work with on my card. This is sticky, so I'm going to stick it back on here until I'm ready to use it. So that's what we're going to be working with today. What I'm going to do first, I'm going to turn off the camera. I'm going to take all these pieces of washi tape that should peel right off, and I'm going to stick it down on paper. It'll stick better, and I can use it better because it's thinner, and I don't have to use this heavy stuff. And just make a sheet with all the washi tape to use on a card. When I get through with that, I'm going to go to this stack, which is the thicker paper. I'm going to peel it apart. So I'll be back when all that's done and we'll get started on our card. I have my little cluster of washi tape finished. So I'm just going to tear it out. And now it's easier to glue down. It might make something cute. You never know. I pulled apart as many as I could here. Some of them didn't want to come apart, so I'll just work with them the way they are. So let's get started with gluing and see what we can come up with today. And I still have my rubber band around my glue stick. Seems to be working out okay so far. Okay, I have all the scraps on this card that I want to use. I was hoping to use more, but this has enough. And it's not typically colors I work with, so my instinct is to just cover it up and then build on top of that. But I don't want to use gesso. I want to cover it with something transparent so that you can see through, and maybe some of these colors will blend with what I put down. So I'm going to try the quinacridone magenta or the permanent violet dark. I'm thinking the magenta though. And I'm going to use a little bit of water if I need to thin it out even more. So I'm going to wet my paint. After I do my little paintbrush act, I'm going to wet my paintbrush if I need to. Oh, this is not going to pour out anyway. This is very thick. It's not supposed to be thick. It just is. This is a fluid medium. This one's old. It's not fluid anymore, but it'll still work. So now I will wet my paintbrush on purpose. I wasn't going to do it unless I needed to, but I'm going to do it to get some of the paint out. I'm just going to brush it on the card. The worst that could happen is we start over, or I just cover it up with something else. Much prettier to me already. I think I'm gonna get an ink out now. Pulled out cherry red and magenta. My desire was to pull out my very favorite ink, which is red violet, but I wanted to try to do something different and not go to my norm, so I pulled out these. Let's see what they do. All right, I'm gonna let that sit for a second, and I'm gonna go get my Payne's Gray ink because I think I wanna throw a little bit on there. I'm gonna wet a round brush and I'm gonna play with the splatters. Now I'm gonna let it dry. This is drying some more. I'm going to glue some more scraps down on a card. Okay, I used up a bunch more scraps on this one. This one I used a lot of the thicker paper. Some of the papers I couldn't tear apart, so I used a lot of those. So there's a lot of texture and bumpiness here, which is fine. It might turn out to be cute. But I'm gonna put some gesso on this now. So this card is a little different. The gesso reacted different. Probably I had something on one of these pieces of scraps that was water soluble, so it blended, but that's okay. I'm looking at the card and I'm taking a second because so many people comment that they see faces or animals or critters or things, and I'm looking around to see what I see instead of going on with what I really see, which is a flower. And I'm turning the card around and I don't see any faces at this point. I mean, I could find a face, like this could become a face to me because that could be a nose. So I could make myself find a face, but what stands out naturally to me is a flower and a fish. I see a fish. This is a fish jumping out of the water, and it could be two fish or it could be a fish with a big mouth opening his mouth right here. But what I really see is this flower here. I see a flower with a stem and some leaves. I'm just gonna take my pencil and sketch it out a little bit, then go from there. I'm gonna use this little black line as my stem, and this is a leaf, and this is a little stem off of a leaf. This could be another little flower. And there's a little shape under the gesso that looks like a leaf. Now, can we find a third flower? Now this could be a bird. It's not a leaf anymore. And this could be a flower here instead of a leaf. So we'll bring the stem down. I wish I had left that ungessoed now. Maybe I should start looking for shapes before I gesso. Let's see what this card's doing. Is it still wet? Yeah, it's still wet, but it looks pretty. Okay, let me find some paints and we'll keep going with this one. I've got some golden acrylic fluid paints over here in a little tin that I'm gonna use. Let's go with quinacridone red, just for the fun of it. I wish I hadn't gessoed. That's what I'm wishing, but I did. So we're just gonna work with what we have. Okay, this flower down here is going to be Indian hue yellow, and this one up here is going to be diarylide yellow, if that's how you say it. I don't know if that's how you say it or not. This is sap green hue. And I'm going to use another green, the green gold, for the leaves and probably on top of the stem a little bit. Okay, there's our first layer. I'm leaving the bird alone because I think I'm going to bring in some of my markers and I'm going to go over the paint here and I'm going to do the bird. I am going to make the bird really tall though. I think if you see these two lines right here, there's one there and one there, that's going to be his legs, and then I'll make feet down here. All right, everything's dry because I had to leave for a while. So I'll be working on this again in a second, but I want to finish working on this. And I've got my Faber-Castell Pitt pens, and I'm going to just do some coloring in all my areas. All right, I'm going to push the background back some. I want to bring in paint, and if it disappears, it disappears, but I just want some color. And so I'm going to use spa blue for my background and mint julep green. I think I'm going to put down here. texture's still there, but the colors are disappearing, which is fine. Okay, I'm gonna set this aside and let it dry for a little bit, and I'm gonna come in and do all the tweaking and all the things. We'll bring this one back in. I really like this. I think that's pretty, but it needs something else. So I think I'll play with my Posca pens, the white ones and the black ones, and see what I can get. I'm going to try, before I bring in the pen, with my Stabilo all white pencil, and I'm going to outline my flowers and see if I like it. And this is water soluble, so I can blend it in or get rid of it if I want to. Then I'll know if I want to bring in the white permanent pen. Okay, pardon the mowing sound. There's people out there mowing. They will be gone shortly. Okay, I'm back on this one. I think I messed this one up. I'm not sure. We'll see. I've got some distress inks here. This one's peeled paint, faded jeans, tumbled glass, broken china, forest moss, crushed olive, and walnut stain. I don't know which one I want, so I brought all the ones I thought I would use. And what I want to do is just go over all the scraps and let the ink sit up on top of it. I took the feet off the bird. I'll bring them back in later. I kind of like that, so we'll leave it like that for now. And let's try the blue. Okay, I like that. So now I want to bring in my walnut stain. Back to the pit pens now. Okay, this card is almost done, but not quite. I love that bird. I want something on here. Kind of wishing that I had used some transparent paints on the scraps before I put gesso down, but I didn't. So I just worked with what I had. But I want to take some brown StazOn. It's a permanent ink, and I want to rub it on the card and see if I like it. And if I don't, oh well, we'll just start over. But I just want to see what it looks like. Okay, let's stop right there. I think I like that. I want something in here. So I'm going to go back to my scraps and I'm going to look and I'm going to see, is there anything that I could add that I could like? And this is definitely something right here. It kind of brings all the oranges and yellows together. I kind of like that. I've got this piece, and this piece has that texture paint on it. I think I showed it to you in the video. I don't know if I leave that part in when I edit or not. Okay, the only thing I have that I like is these. Okay, I took pictures. I think I want this one. I like that dark color, but I would want something dark down here. So I'm gonna look in my black and white bag and see if I can find something to put down here. Found these pieces, this one, and that one. And I'm just testing them to see what I like. I just don't like anything in the small scraps, so I went into my big scraps and tore this off of a bigger sheet of paper. There we go. I like that. I'm going to let that sit for a minute and think about it and see if there's anything else I want to do to it. And I'm going to bring this one back in and see what I can do to fix it. So I've got this piece of paper that I put all the little washi tapes on. And I'm thinking about cutting them out in circles and just putting them down over this because I don't like the way this turned out. Why not? Let's just glue it down. Well, I'm liking it better, so now I'm just going to play with it until I'm happy. took a piece of black and I just cut some odd circles. I'm going to glue them in the center of the flowers. So that's the end of this one. I think it turned out really cute. Didn't go exactly where I was planning, but nothing ever does, so I'm not surprised. And then this one, I think it turned out really cute too. Completely different. I like the texture of the scraps, but you can't see the colors or anything. I like that. I love that little bird. I love his long legs. The problem I had was I went in 2 different directions and it drew my brain apart. But if I look at them independently, I really think they're cute. I think that one's really cute. Totally not what I was expecting. And then I think that one's really cute too. When I do 2 cards, I don't name them, like this isn't 9 and 10, this is 9 and 9A. That way I know I did it the same day. All right, I'm out of here. Hope you guys have a great whatever it is. I'll see you later. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. Bye-bye. Have you guys noticed my glue stick not falling over since I use the rubber band all of a sudden? I think what it's doing is adding a little weight down here, which balances out better. I think that's what's happened. So if for no other reason, that rubber band has served a purpose for balancing my stick. What can I say? I'm not even gonna say anything.